Anybody who's been a fan of my channel for longer than a couple of months will know that Victor Arvidsson, who wears this jersey, is one of my favorite players. All right, everybody, that's it. Good night. No, I'm just kidding. Victor Arvidsson is, he scored 30 goals. I don't know that he's a 30-goal scorer for the whole term of this contract, but in order to get him under what they wanted for the cap, they had to give him 7 years. This is part and parcel of what happens now in the NHL. So it's a $4.25 million cap hit. It's reasonable. And it means that Nashville doesn't have anything to worry about for a while. I mean, if we take a look at Nashville's cap situation, they're nowhere near the top, which is not surprising. Nashville is always going to be a budget team. I can't see them ever getting up to that cap. They currently have $14 million in cap space, and Watson and Johansson are still out there to be signed. Ryan Johansson is going to be tricky from here. If Arvidsson's worth $4.2 million, I would argue that Johansson's worth minimum $5.5. Johansson's their #1 center. So by getting Arvidsson under contract, that's good for them. That helps them. But Johansson's the big fish out there that they have to get. I mean, Austin Watson's still RFA, but he's just going to get whatever. Johansson's the big one. And 5.5, he may get more than that. He could. In today's NHL, and with the fact that Nashville made the Stanley Cup final, and part of the reason Pittsburgh was able to defeat them, part of the reason that Pittsburgh was able to win that series is Johansson being out. They did not have an answer at center for the big guys that Pittsburgh was putting out there. And they did their best. They fought so hard, and I was really, really aggravated that they didn't win. But in the end, you know, they didn't do it. I'm not saying with Johansson that they win the series, but I think they would have had a better chance. So they have to bring him back. And then it's a matter of how much money does Johansson get. Like I said, if Arvidsson's worth $4.25 million, Johansson gets more than that. And they have the cap space to do it. They have no real reason right now to be cheap. Unless revenues aren't where they want them to be. But the team's just come off a Stanley Cup final run. They've been playing very, very well over the last 2 seasons. They had a good Stanley Cup run the year before. They made it to the second round when they weren't supposed to. Nashville is definitely a team to be concerned with. Nashville is going to be a playoff team. I mean, you look at the board as it is right now. And Nashville, I'm not going to reveal what position they're in, but they're a playoff team. And I know there's some saying, well, it was a fluke. It was a fluke run. It doesn't matter if it was a fluke run or not. They went to the Stanley Cup final. When a team goes to the Stanley Cup final, the asking price of players on that team is going to go up. Because the players are saying, hey, we're close to being a Stanley Cup contender, or we're close to being a Stanley Cup champion. We're already a Stanley Cup contender. We should get paid like we're a Stanley Cup contender. I don't have a problem with players doing it, and I don't have a problem with GMs giving into that demand. It's a risky one. Because especially when you're all these guys are getting 7 years, some of them are getting 8. All I can think is a lot changes over 7 years. A long time. A lot can change. I was a big fan of the old 3-4 year contracts. I guess I'm old school that way. Because to me, a 3-year contract is good. A 4-year contract is fantastic. And just every 4 years, you sit down and figure out where the guy's at. 7 years is a long time. That's till, 2024. And if anything happens, he didn't get... Yeah, there's unconfirmed details. I can't see there being a no trade or no movement clause. Those have kind of become a non-issue. It's like players gave up on them, or GMs gave up on them. I'm not sure which. But it seems like no movement, no trade were being handed out constantly 5 years ago, and now not so much. That may just be my own perception. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. No problem with that. But it's a good contract for Arvidsson. It puts Nashville in an interesting spot, because now really all they need to do is get Johansson back, and they're set. And they signed Bonino for $4.1 million. They've got Forsberg at $6 million. It wouldn't surprise me if Johansson's saying, well, if Forsberg gets 6, I should get more than that. because I'm the center. Although Forsberg's listing is he can play center or right wing. Craig Smith, center or right wing. Craig Smith, $4.25 million for the next 3 years. And Craig Smith, you know, whether he's worth that or not, he's got it. And if Craig Smith gets $4.25 million, he only had 29 points last year. That's the kind of contract that can eventually need to get traded out. But Johansson's going to be looking at all these comparables and saying, look, this guy gets this amount. I do this. For these amount of points and goals, I should get paid this amount. He'll probably get what he wants, because players normally do. I look at Thomas Tatar in Detroit. He wanted 5.3. Detroit was countering with 4.1. What did he get? He got 5.3. And if any of these go to arbitration, it's going to lean towards the player a lot. NHL GMs try to cheap out, but in the end, they usually give in to players' demands, which leads to owners then going to Gary Bettman and saying, we're losing money. Rather than Bettman saying, you guys can't manage your cap, you guys are just signing players to whatever they want, they just go, all right, lockout then. I'm old, I'm jaded, I've seen it too many times. So as I watch these contracts happening, I say, all right, right now, Arvidsson, sure, $4.25 million. That's a bargain for the 30 goals he scored last year. Let's see if he does it again. I love Arvidsson. Do I think he's a 30-goal scorer? I think he's a 20-goal scorer who scored 30 goals, and whether he does it again or not, I don't know. I think it's a good price for him. I think it's going to raise expectations, and sometimes players handle it really well and sometimes not as well. It is, again, because it's summer, we have all the speculation, all these things that could happen, might happen, should happen, and none of us know what's going to happen. So I know that this Arvidsson deal means that now they can focus 100% on Johansson. The only reason I didn't report this yesterday is because after I did 7 videos altogether, 6 publicly and 1 for Patreon, I thought, you know what, I need to get a little bit of a break and hang out and put together a set of Pro Set. Out of the 3 boxes I bought, I'm 1 card short, but you know, that's what happens. But I also wanted to just relax from all the hockey stuff for a bit. I did that, and while I did that, Victor Arvidsson was signed. So usually that's the case where when I close up the computer and I go, all right, I'm done for now, stuff like this tends to happen. So let me know what you guys think about the contract. I can't see any drawback with this contract. I'm actually kind of surprised at the summer that GMs have been having. They've been very reasonable, and it's made me wonder if they're being reasonable because they know something's going to happen in 2020, or if they've just smartened up. I'm honestly starting to wonder if GMs have just smartened up, and maybe players have stopped making crazy demands and made reasonable ones. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, and if you're a Nashville fan and you're wondering when I'm going to do a season preview for Nashville, I honestly don't know. When I do these things, I honestly don't know what team I'm doing next. I got up this morning, I looked at my Blue Jackets jersey, and I said, I'll do Blue Jackets. Then I was putting my Blue Jackets jersey away, and I'm like, I want to wear my Oilers jersey. I might as well do an Oilers preview while I'm at it. That's how I'm doing this. So, stay tuned. Good luck to Victor Arvidsson. Fantastic player. I love the guy a ton. And I'd like to see him score more goals this coming year and make that contract a huge bargain. But we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you again soon.